Well, next, the mum in labour caught up in tailbacks after a fatal crash on the A1M in Hertfordshire.
One man died in the crash, which blocked the road for hours this morning.
Well, among those caught up in the resulting delays were a heavily pregnant Tracy Payne and her husband Gary on their way to the Lister Hospital in Stevenage. Sarah Cooper has the details.
Graham Mack, and we're getting reports of major problems.
Keeping his listeners up to date with the very latest.
The road is closed.
A fatal crash on the A1M in Hertfordshire caused long delays for motorists this morning. But one family stuck in the traffic needed to get moving faster than most.
7 to 8, stop the show. We've got a medical emergency on our hands.
My wife's pregnant and she's due to give birth today. We were due to go into the hospital for her to be induced, but she actually went into labour during the night. She's now having contractions every 3 to 4 minutes.
Tracy and husband Gary are expecting their 5th child together.
Based on your experience, how close do you think you are to giving birth?
Well, hopefully not too far away, but not too quick that it's going to happen in the car.
And as the drama continued live on the radio, the rest of the family were listening at home.
To think that it was all happening, and bless her, you could tell as well, she was in so much pain.
Yeah, she was really struggling with it, especially like being stuck in traffic, like in labour, can't exactly be the most comfortable thing. But yeah, so it was just a shock, like we didn't hear it from anywhere else but the radio. like we were getting updates from Bob FM instead of from Mum.
Listeners then started calling in with suggestions of which way to go around the traffic. Everybody's trying to help. There was one suggestion to cut through the grounds of Nebworth House to get back onto the A1M. Eventually, Mum in the backseat pulled rank, decided she's going to call an ambulance.
And that's how the family got through the traffic to the maternity ward. Tracy arrived here at the Lister Hospital at about 9:30 this morning. Now, she lives in Welwyn, which isn't far from the QE2 hospital, but maternity services were stopped there in 2011 and brought here. The hospital says it's now invested millions in the facilities here and the service has been transformed. A spokesperson also added they are sorry that the family struggled to get here this morning, but clearly they don't control the traffic and they do wish the family all the best. And at 2 o'clock this afternoon, little Melody was born, £7 and 5 ounces. A dramatic entrance for the 10th grandchild. Mother and baby are doing well.
Well, a little earlier we caught up with Sarah Cooper outside the hospital in Stevenage.
Yes, well, Mum Tracy and baby Melody Sophia are still in the ward at the moment, keeping out of the cold. We think that they'll be in here overnight and then hopefully all being well, they'll be back home tomorrow morning. But joining me now is her husband and new dad, Gary, and nanny Linda. Now, Gary, an eventful journey. How was it for you?
Absolute nightmare. Live about a 20-25 minute drive away from the hospital, and this morning obviously it took us a lot longer, approximately 3 hours 15 minutes, with the rest of that journey being by ambulance, but we got there safe and sound thanks to those ambulance crew. So
I imagine tense atmosphere inside that car.
Oh, very, very tense, yes, and very worrying as well. Yeah.
Now, Linda, you were in the back seat, I think, the whole time. At what point did you decide you'd had enough, you were going to take the reins and call that ambulance?
Well, we were led to believe that when we got to a certain point, the traffic was a lot easier, and it ended up not to be, and you just couldn't see anything but traffic in front and behind. And with Tracy, the trouble Tracy's had with her blood pressure, I just didn't want to take no chances, so that was it. I just decided to call them.
Well, it was the right call because you got here in the end. And Gary, how are mum and baby?
Yeah, mum and baby are fine. Unfortunately, the birth was also very traumatic, some complications, but we got through that. And say, mum and baby are doing very well, and the hospital staff here have been fantastic, so they're in good hands.
Well, after a dramatic start, we do wish you all the best. So, an eventful but ultimately happy day for this family. It is important to remember, though, that one family is still grieving tonight.